Hi everyone, today I'm going to update everyone on what's going on in the immigration process for 2021. Happy New Year's, January 1st when this is being recorded, and we got some really important updates in the immigration system with regard to mandates for getting health insurance, extensions of travel bans, and a lot more. So stay tuned, we're going to go piece by piece, all the big things affecting people who are applying for visas and green cards based on all sorts of different type of cases right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wish I had better news in the new year. The things I'm going to talk about are a little depressing, but hopefully in the next coming months, as a new president comes in and hopefully undoes a lot of them, things will get better. We're going to go piece by piece right now so you have an idea of what's going on. Before starting, if you're thinking about doing a marriage immigration case, please click on the link below or go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com for a marriage case to learn the strategies and general ideas of the process by downloading the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. But there's issues that affect that and things change constantly. One of them is this. The president had put a travel ban on immigrant visas. These are people getting green cards through the embassy system. They do an embassy interview to apply for a green card and then they come here. President Trump put a stop on that because he said COVID-19 has caused a lot of job losses in the United States, and if those people come here with green cards, they won't be able to, or American citizens and people in America will have less opportunity to have jobs. And that was his rationale for that, and he passed presidential proclamations for that. And the consequence was this: there was an exception for people who are married to U.S. citizens, but it still affects people who are married to green card holders, for example, parents of U.S. citizens, brothers and sisters of U.S. citizens. All these different types of people and a lot more are subject to this proclamation. It was due to end at the end of 2020, but President Trump, right before it ended, gave another extension of it, which is going to mid-March. So you should expect these kind of travel bans to continue, but this is not only for immigrant visas, people getting green cards, it also applies to certain work visas like the H-1B and the L-1 and a couple of other categories. So we still have these COVID-19 travel bans related to work-based immigrant visas, and this is separate from the travel bans for COVID-19 that affect people who have visited in recent days, China, Brazil, Iran, Europe, and UK and North Ireland. And so these problems still persist. We still have these travel bans and they're getting extended. If things change, please tune in and keep an eye out. We'll update you on this channel and other social media if things change. But for now, all the travel bans continue. So if you're outside the United States, it's much more difficult to come and enter the United States. Now, they have waivers that are possible if you have some sort of circumstance that makes your case special, but it's fewer and far between. Most people will be stuck with these travel bans and won't be allowed to come in. So that was a really bad thing that happened, that they extended. A lot of people are separated, but that's one of the biggest pieces of news that came out. The second one is pretty much just as bad for those who are getting immigrant visas through the embassy. So we talk about how they're banned. If that ban goes away, a court decision happened right on the day of New Year that said the president had put into place a requirement that if you're coming to the United States, you have to show that you have health insurance to live here, get a green card, or that you will get health insurance the next 30 days, or that you can financially support yourself if you have some sort of medical condition. Again, this applies for immigrant visa holders, those who are getting their green card after an embassy interview. For that embassy interview to be approved, they have to get all this health insurance or be able to show that they can financially support themselves. Well, this had been put on hold, an injunction as they call it, because of a court case, but a decision was made by the Ninth Circuit where they say, no, we're going to let this continue. They'll probably make more decisions about it later, but for now, the decision is made. If you're going to an embassy interview, they may ask for your health insurance. Now, they're supposed to, but we'll see if they ask or how strict they are. We don't know. This just happened right now. There may be other lawsuits. There may be other ways you can deal with this, but that's a major thing to be prepared for. If you have a green card case that's going through the embassy, be prepared to potentially buy health insurance, get information on health insurance, how it costs, or start it up, or show you have so much assets, cash in the bank, money, that if you have some sort of medical situation in the United States, you could afford to pay for it. As you can imagine, it's very hard to do. Just to get the paperwork as a foreign person overseas without a social security number, getting health insurance in the United States, how does that even work? Who knows? But this unfortunately things that they didn't think out, and I guess weren't argued in front of the judge to show how impractical it is. But you know, and the big issue is health insurance in the United States is so expensive too that it's a mess. Hopefully, if you're coming on a family plan, like you're getting married or you are married, you could use your spouse's health insurance to show that how much it'll cost and you can afford it. There's practical and tactical ways you strategize and do this. Definitely consult with an immigration attorney to plan it out. But that's a major thing that happened that's affecting a lot of people. Now, next thing I'm constantly getting questions about is about biometrics. The whole biometrics situation is a mess. So biometrics is when you're in the United States and you're applying for some sort of benefit, either a green card or some sort of visa. They have a requirement that you go to a certain location, an ASC, and you take a photo of you and your fingerprints. What happened is because of COVID-19, those ASC, those places where they take the fingerprints and the photo, the biometrics, were shut down for like 6 months. So a huge backlog of cases emerged. And now that they're reopened, they're seeing less people per day. They used to have people in a waiting room. You'd go there, there'd be 10 people waiting. Now they don't want anyone in the waiting room, so they're booking fewer and less people per day, so that not that many people are there together to potentially be hit by COVID-19 virus. So what happened with that is there's 6 months of people who didn't get their biometrics, and then they're reopened, but they're seeing less and less people. So as you can imagine, there's a huge delay that happens in the process, and we're dealing with that. A lot of people are worried. How come they got the receipt, 6 months have gone by, no biometrics? Well, that is a situation. Waiting 6 months for biometrics is normal. Now, I have cases where people want to file for citizenship, and while it's pending, they also renew their green card. Now, I have cases where we file the green card renewal and citizenship at the same time. You get biometrics for citizenship, no biometrics for the green card renewal yet. Confusing. Or they get a biometric appointment for the green card a month later, but now for citizenship, that's pending. It goes both ways. Now, to add to the confusion and how messed up things are, there are a lot of cases where people already have their biometrics in the system, and USCIS is mistakenly resending biometrics appointment notices to them. I have more than half of my marriage green card cases have had this situation where USCIS is resending biometrics appointment when they absolutely don't need it. So what does happen if you're waiting for a biometrics appointment and someone has to do 2 by mistake? Well, that means less time for you to do it, but it's not that big a deal. They do approve work permits despite not having biometrics. I've had that happen. For your green card to be eventually approved, if you have an interview, for example, in the US with USCIS, you will need to have the biometrics done. But it's possible for the interview to be scheduled even if your biometrics are not done. I have that before too. So it doesn't affect it necessarily. It may or may not. The way they handle things is really inconsistent. I know it's a headache, but at the very least, I want you to know that the lack of biometrics and appointments is not that big a deal that's going to hurt your case or cause widespread problems for you. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, is just to me the most important, practically speaking, because of processing, is the delay in getting receipt notices. So USCIS is hugely backed up. And because of that, when we mail an application, usually it will take 2-3 weeks for them to cash the check and then or take the fees for the case and mail us a receipt showing the case number so we could track it and all that kind of stuff. Right now, it's taking anywhere from 1 to 2 months on average to get these receipts back. I have an I-130 case where a gentleman, a U.S. citizen, applied for his parents. It's taken 2 full months for them to cash the check. So, I write the check from my office. I saw the check was cashed 2 months after filing. We still don't even have the receipts yet. So be prepared for these long delays, especially people who are doing employment-based cases, I-140, I-485, adjustments, all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, it's normal for these delays to happen. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're good. It could be that your case was rejected and they're sending back to you. Those problems do happen. But in general, these delays are the norm right now because the mailroom is so clogged up with work. They have fewer employees per mailroom processing these accepted cases. So as you can see, it causes massive delays. So these are some important updates I wanted to let you know about the immigration process. If you needed more information and want to schedule a consultation about your case to review it, please email me at info@jqqlaw.com, info@jqqlaw.com. And if you're interested in a marriage-based case, the first thing to do is to get the strategy, get the ideas all around it by downloading the no-cost Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And once you download that, once you have an idea what's going on, feel free to schedule a consultation and we could take it from there. I hope this information is well. Hopefully the bad stuff goes away and all the good stuff comes up and you have a great 2021. I hope you enjoyed this educational video. We have a second channel with much more information as well at JQK Immigration Clips. Please check that out. Also, you'll find our social media site has a lot more videos, images, and information about the U.S. immigration process. Please check those out on the various social media websites.